Kenny, what do you feel like you guys have gained over these past couple of days?
I keep using the word reset. I don't know, mentally, physically, emotionally, just resetting yourself. And then I think the last thing, just getting back on a routine, and routine equals process to me. So we're getting back to our processes, makes it feel good about how we're going to approach this next stretch of games.
What is different about Darius now compared to the first major season maybe?
Definitely getting better from when I watched the film. The movements, obviously not back to where he was last year. I think the good thing about that, Dan, like that our expectations were not that. That all of a sudden this is going to be something you come back from like that. It's a different type of injury, but I think we're seeing more and more flashes of DG, and we just got to continue to have patience with this process.
Was Jared able to go through practice again today?
Jared Allen, I'd say he did half. Let's put it that way. The full contact stuff, no. Sam, you can see, is really good news, actually shooting with his shooting hand, which is pleasant sight to see.
And where's Max at in his recovery process?
Max, his timeline is still what we thought it was going to be. Just kind of no update in terms of, hey, it's going to be faster, slower, just kind of same timeline. I think he's in a good way in terms of his recovery.
I hate to keep going back to the film session, but DG,
what film session?
DG did just say, though, that you went to your best players first and held them accountable first and foremost.
Yeah.
Why is that important for you as a coach, for the rest of the guys to see that?
Yeah, just big part of my philosophy as a coach. I think you have to have real empathy for your young players because they're going to make mistakes. Older players, you have a little less tolerance in terms of execution, effort, all of that. So sometimes it's a reset for them too, right? Like you're like they slip. There's 5 and 7. You're not practicing. They slip a little bit. So we just had to give them a little bit of a reminder. And I think with the best players want to be coached hard. I really think that, and that's the case with our guys. They want it on them first. So I feel comfortable doing it because they're accepting of coaching.
You said that was a defensive focus a couple of days ago. Offense was the focus the last day or so.
Yeah.
What was the things that stood out to you in the study?
Again, kind of cleaning up the slippage, almost getting back to training camp mode. Not in terms of remember these are kind of like the details of what we're doing. And when you have so many games in a row and the schedule's packed, you don't have enough time to get into the details. So we had to just kind of go back rather than tweak or change. It was like, okay, go back. Let's kind of re-examine this and how we want to execute our core principles. Because the other way you could look at it is like, okay, we got to change things, right? We got to change up our philosophy, and that does happen during the NBA season. But I felt like we were at the point where we had to get back to the beginning, quote unquote.
You obviously have your internal standards that you set for yourself when you come into the season and during the season, but there's no way that you can't see what OKC is doing this season and what they just did last night.
Yeah.
How do you look at that and say that's where we want to be? Do you ever compare yourself to that level? How do you process that?
If you do that in the NBA, I think you'll drive yourself crazy. You start looking at other teams and what they're doing. I just really got to be focused on us. I look at our metrics, our KPIs, and I looked at it the other day. I think we're kind of borderline top 10 in both offensive and like it's not like, oh shoot, we're 26th in this and 19th. Like so, there are some real positives here. We're not where we want to be, but we're not you're not way behind. So I do think there's some positive signs. We look at all the expected stuff too, so that gives us checking our processes. Those numbers are pretty good, but that doesn't mean I'm satisfied where we are, right? But I do think there's some positive signs that we're trending decently, and as we get healthier, we'll continue to get better.
Kenny, we talked so much about workload with remote management with the players. If somebody gets sick or injured, you can rest them, but for a head coach, it's 24/7 all the time. What are you doing to manage your workload?
Oh, wow. I think I'm prioritizing sleep right now. I think the coaches might be looking at, hey, why are you getting in so late? Once the season starts and once these games start going, I'd rather sleep an extra half hour than watch a half hour of film. And that wasn't the case maybe 5 years ago in my career. I just prioritize obviously sleep and diet, your controllables. You obviously still got to work and put in the time and all that, but I kind of feel like a lot of my prep was done in the off season, prepping, and I kind of it's like a player. I put in the work. Now we got to make sure I'm getting my rest and taking care of my mental and physical health.
Main theme. Oh, go ahead.
Was that something you kind of learned from last year or this year? Was that the biggest difference for you? You were like, I got to dial in on sleep specifically?
I just think it's an evolution of my career where I was probably didn't value it or prioritize it at all in the beginning, almost like because I thought a coach had to work 18-hour days and be in the office at 4:30 in the morning, and that was kind of it. And then I've just slowly kind of switched my mentality where I know when to work and I know when to shut down, and that's how you prepare best for the games.
The main theme of training camp was obviously the focus on conditioning, and that seems to be an area in which you guys maybe aren't keeping up with some of the teams. So what's your viewpoint of how that's maybe affected? You said that you like your processes and whatnot, but when you don't like your processes, is conditioning a factor in that, or what would you say?
I think we're a well-conditioned team. I think it's more of an awareness of who we're playing. I think we've talked about this. The East Coast team, the Eastern Conference teams, a lot of them are playing at a higher pace, right? And conditioning and intensity. Conditioning doesn't win championships, right? So I think we're in a pretty good place in terms of our conditioning. We just need to have a better awareness of who we're playing. There are certain teams in this league, they turn it up in terms of sprint speed and all that, and I think sometimes it's a mental thing, right? Like it's a mental, okay, we're playing Toronto tonight. Toronto's going to be a little different than playing the Clippers, right, style-wise. So making that switch mentally is probably more important than the physical. And I don't think we've done a great job of adjusting to those teams that are playing super fast. But I don't think it's a conditioning thing.